So it's been a quick minute since we last covered Dead Cells, but that doesn't mean the team over at Motion Twin hasn't been hard at work. In fact, if anything, they're busier than ever. Hello friends, it's Codiak here, and today we're going to tackle all of the latest news from their French headquarters and what's in the works for Dead Cells. Alright, so it's no doubt that Dead Cells has been a massive hit, and as promised, the developers have not slowed down one bit in terms of content and pushing the game forward as Motion Twin's flagship title. In fact, the first bit of news actually comes from the Reddit AMA that took place in early August. As many of you know, Motion Twin runs as a co-op, which means no one is the boss. Everyone gets paid the same and everyone has an equal share in the projects. But as Dead Cells has grown in popularity and has reached commercial success, the team reached a crossroads. For the full story, you'll have to check out Indie Catapult's response on the thread, but the short story is this. A new division within Motion Twin has been established called Evil Empire, which will allow a small team to maintain and update Dead Cells while also exploring possible new titles within the Dead Cells universe, like Dead Cells 2 or a Dead Cells co-op game. Motion Twin writ large retains veto rights on anything that team does, but they're going to be the nucleus of ideas for future Dead Cells content. From what I understand, this accomplishes two goals. It keeps Dead Cell content moving forward, giving passionate fans a constant stream of new updates, and allows the developers to move on to other projects or fully commit to the Dead Cells universe. It's a really cool concept, and one I recommend you read more into if you're interested. Another big sticking point from the AMA revolves around the financial future of Dead Cells. As I mentioned, the team has evolved, and as such, so have their financial needs. At this point, as stated by Indie Catapult, there is no final decision how future content in Dead Cells will be structured. Paid DLC, microtransactions, free content, everything is on the table. Now, this is good news in my opinion, since every developer needs to weigh all their options. Following the game for quite some time, I have no doubt that they'll take measured steps and implement reasonable costs if that's the route they decide to go. Indie mentions the idea of cosmetic purchases as well as standalone content that could be purchased, which are fair game in my opinion. As he says, you gotta pay the developers somehow, right? So let's dive into what's new in Dead Cells. A lot has changed and a lot has been added to make your run through the castle even more exciting. As with all of these videos, if you want the granular details, go check out the patch notes on the official website, as I'll just be covering the broad changes that will impact a majority of fans. First up, we have 7 brand new weapons in the game, 5 of which are thematically tied to the bosses. One that's niche, and of course, everyone's most requested item since day one, the frying pan. To acquire these items, players will have to beat the boss in question and claim the weapons as their own. In addition to the weapons, 6 new mobs have been added to the game. These new enemies are also thematically tied to the bosses, which gives players a taste of what to expect when they eventually reach a boss. The idea behind this strategy was to help prepare more casual players by showcasing certain abilities ahead of time before they reach the boss. Another big change was the team's philosophy behind item color scaling. Building out your character should now more closely align with the team's philosophy. Tactics players should feel more like a glass cannon with an emphasis on good positioning and the tools needed to avoid taking damage. Brutality is your best of both worlds builds that puts the emphasis on fast weapons, melee combat, damage over time effects, and offensive abilities. And finally, survival is all about staying alive with everything tying back to healing and control. The survival build revolves around slow weapons, shields, lots of health, and offensive abilities with high cooldowns and control. That being said, a number of items have been adjusted to reflect these changes, and as you can see on the screen, some of your favorite items may not work into the build you used to run. So take a look at what's different and start wrapping your head around how you should approach your next attempt. 3 new tactics mutations were also added to the game, which are surprisingly designed around melee. If you've ever watched some of the 5BC players run, you'll understand why this is an option. Their ability to dodge is unparalleled, and the high risk, high reward thing is ingrained in every fiber of their gameplay. Building around the idea of melee and tactics is being called the Assassin's build internally, and really aims to give players a high damage, high mobility experience, all at the cost of tankiness. Don't feel like you need to use these though, but if you're looking for a challenge, check them out. Finally, for all you blueprint hunters out there, a great community suggestion has finally come to fruition. Enemies that still hold unlockable blueprints will now have an icon above their head while the player is holding the hunter grenade. There are also a number of balancing tweaks with the new update that we should go over just in case it was on anybody's mind. First up, the team has increased the level of items from Curse Chest and Legendary Altar by 1, which should give players even more incentive to risk potential death. Additionally, if you've ever been the victim of slow poison deaths, you'll be happy to know that poison will no longer kill you outright, and will only bring your HP down to 1. Another quick change for everyone, enemies have been shuffled around to help connect player experiences within certain biomes. The Knife Thrower has been taken out of the Ramparts, Clock Tower, and Toxic Sewer biomes, and the Inquisitor has been removed from the Cavern. Finally, a community suggestion: players will now be able to move around the camera independently using additional keyboard shortcuts. This is a great addition for players that really like to survey their surroundings before jumping into the fray. A lot has changed since Dead Cells was released over a year ago, but the team remains committed as ever to bringing fans closer to the creative process with AMAs and content updates at a relatively consistent clip. For anyone still waiting for updates on console, the team touched on that briefly and says the certification process slows everything down. Now, with that being said, the team is looking to the future and open to any ideas from the community about what Dead Cells looks like moving forward. If you want to share your ideas, be sure to leave us a comment in the section below. And remember, you can always join me and the rest of the Game Gurus on Discord if you want to keep the conversation going after the video is over. My name is Codiak, and from everyone here at the Game Gurus, thanks for watching and play on.